How we doing? And again, I forgot this guy. How we doing? Haven't yet made a cup of coffee, but I might do so in the stream. Give me a second. I'm just loading up at Twitch. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. So as usual, I'm going to start with the puzzles. And then we jump on to other stuff. Primarily my tournament. So like I mentioned, I didn't really look at the games and if you wonder what I mean by like I mentioned, if you watched my video on YouTube, by the way, if you haven't, you should subscribe there as well. I was so disgusted with myself that I didn't really look at my games, right? I haven't literally sat down. I think I've made a cup of coffee now. I don't know. I haven't actually sat down to actually review my games. I briefly looked at them to make the video. Most of the video was literally just how I felt without me going too much. I did mention, like, you would hear me say that according to the engine. What basically happened was sometimes I would look at key positions that were like messing with my head just to kind of see what is going on in that position. So I kind of had a generalized view of how the game was going, right? So but I haven't actually looked at the games, so I'll try and do that today. I don't know, I'm not feeling too much of myself. I'm not feeling too much of myself, but I'll try and do that, right? And you should be analyzing your games. You should take a deep dive into it. You know, sometimes you have the tendency of saying something like, oh, this is where I made the mistake, so I don't have to look at the rest of it. You should also look at the rest of it, right? Don't be like, oh, if I make this correction, I'll never make the mistake again, so I'll just ignore the rest. Actually, you should take key notes of the rest, because you still, like, the game of chess is about decision making and calculation. So if, for example, you played a position and yes, you made a mistake and then entered it into a bad position, you still do have to analyze the bad position you got yourself into, because by so doing, you can find ways out of it. You can find new ideas, and you can find even better ways of improving your game of chess. So don't just analyze your games and be like, oh, if I fix this mistake, the rest of the game wouldn't happen, so there's no need to analyze it. You still need to analyze even the bad position that you got, even after fixing it or remedying it, because you get to understand how that position works, so that if you get it against your opponent, or if it goes against you, you have something to do, right? So let's quickly jump into this. I see check already. What I'm wondering is if we want to go like Queen takes king h2 or king h8. Actually, wait, king h8 would make more sense. Yeah, if I was black, I'd go king h8 because king h7 just puts me in a problem with the knight, right? So I'd probably just go king h8 and then work my way up from there, right? So queen takes h7, check king h8, so that my back rank is okay. I can take the knight, but what does my opponent do? Does my opponent have something that's dangerous? I'm thinking about in this position has to, right? Knight jumps into f4, defends this pawn, and gives me access to this square. But it's not really this square that I'm looking for access into. It's actually jumping here. Then the added benefit of playing, for example, knight here is that my opponent can bring their queen into this position. So that's another thing I'm looking at. Okay, so it's not taking a knight too. It's not trading off the queens as well. Oh. Is the point of the puzzle to save the knight? Let me just take this guy. Wait, but that's the line I was recommending still save the knight. What would be wrong with this line? Let's say my opponent has check. Like that's about. I don't get how this saves my opponent. Let me see. Okay. No, but don't we still have this? Oh, that's check. Oh, well, I'm not seeing anything. That sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Playing as black, instantly see this. The problem with playing this move is that you hang your. So maybe the move is check. Check king f8. Knight takes d5, d4. Sorry, yeah, d4. Knight takes d4. Oh, he has a passed pawn here. Okay, that's annoying. Does that change anything? Okay, then we now go knight to a3. Check. King to c1. Rook check. King comes back, and then bishop comes in with check. That is not mate. No, that's wrong. Wait. Check king c1. Rook check, that should be mate, right? Yeah, the bishop doesn't have to come in the first place. Yeah. For some reason, I was calculating this, And then later on I realized, wait, the knight is already blocking it. So why am I... Visualization, guys. One of the most annoying parts about chess. Okay, we see a fork winning the king, but obviously it knows that because it has this move. Sorry, even just here, winning my queen. Actually, if we check here, how does our opponent escape? The king has to come up. The king comes in here. We can play queen check. In which case, if pawn push, we have bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes check. If the king comes back again, then we can take this. But that solves our problem because our queen is... That doesn't solve our problem actually. I think the line is queen here instead. Queen to e5 because now there's no check. There's no discovered attack that wins the queen. Either that or it's simply just pawn push. Right, c5, b takes c5, d takes c5, bishop takes c5, knight takes... I don't know. This... I feel like it's a merit to playing c5 first. Your opponent takes once and then you leave it there, and then you now go for this idea. But let's try with this first. If I'm wrong, so I think it's not neither of these. It's this way rather. Oh, and that's mate. That's crazy. It is crazy the amount of things I am missing today. Oh boy, thank God it's simply an analysis stream today. If I was playing chess today, it would be horrible. What? Okay, so the question is, do I go this way or this way? Ideally, you don't want to lock yourself in. Wait, what am I saying? You take the queen, right? Oh, so it's a calculation of pawn promotion. Okay, so king takes f3, king takes c5, b5, b4, sorry, g5, b4, g4. Let me try and do my mine and see it. So play king takes b5, g5, b4, g4, b5. I promote before my opponent. Yeah, I've removed from my opponent, and I have... No, I don't. I promote from my opponent, that's all I know. Whoa. Oh. But that may be a problem. Because the queening comes with check if my opponent sidesteps. Okay. That's actually interesting. I think I ignore it. Oh. I was thinking I didn't calculate that line from my opponent at all. I thought I just ignored it because if I play this and my opponent takes... Wait, give me a second. Okay. Okay. I actually thought this move was strange, but actually it's just good. Because again, if you sidestep here, right, the issue with this line is that I check the king. But with this, if your opponent plays pawn push, which is what I wasn't looking at, you actually do have that. So your opponent would have to waste his move, taking this, and now you are like a whole move ahead. So by the time your opponent gets to this, trying to figure out like a way to check and then force a trade of queens. Anyways, that was a bad day of puzzles for me. You know what I'm gonna do? I think I really do need this cup of coffee. I was trying to avoid it, but I really do think I need this cup of coffee. Let me apparently my mic is not so high sometimes. Let me do that. It boosted it up a bit. I'll try and lift up my voice as well, but I'll be right back. Just going to make a cup of coffee. I am not feeling myself. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So what I would really enjoy, or what I would really love from you guys, is to try your best to be involved, right? Even though I'm looking at my games, it is like a steady stream, so I would like your inputs as well, right? I don't want it to be like I'm the only one doing something. It often turns into that, but I would much prefer if um you guys spoke as well, brought out your thoughts, brought out your questions, so that we can look into it together. That's what I would really love from you guys. So this was my first game, and it was against let me do this. Amako Mark Arnold, an Ivorian. Now I've heard a lot about these guys, right? So I know that they are strong, but I know that 1900 is beatable, right? Regardless of my rating, I know that 1900 is beatable. Uh, I don't think I'm too far from beating a 1900. I think I have like what it takes to beat a 1900. I just have to be very, very consistent throughout the game, and my calculation should be precise, right? But I didn't do that showing in this game. But I'm not going to do it like an analysis video. I'm going to take it where things confused me and where I didn't really analyze the game, right? So I know this is correct, right? Someone was recommending I play a different line, and like that line feels evenish. It feels drawish, right? Like these kinds of lines, they just feel evenish. They just feel like I personally don't like these lines, right? And um oftentimes it's good to challenge your opponent from the get-go. So this is kind of why I prefer to play this. Now, if you know your opponent is a strictly landing player, you can immediately start with this. This really gets you an advantage, right? Um, but I mean, for any d4 opening, that does help you. It's a bad move, but it does get you the Benoni into the. You can play the Benoni or the Benko. It can help you out, but yeah. So I know all this is correct. Like all this, I'm aware of. What I was expecting was him taking, and that is an easy game for me. So what I'm going to first of all focus on is this move, right? What I'm first going to focus on is this move. And I don't know. If I play g6 here, instead of the usual knight comes in to defend this pawn, I'll have to be using the engine a lot here, but I'm looking at just playing this immediately. And what the move is just e4, breaking through. Now e4, when I see a move like e4 being recommended by the engine, I'm like, oh okay, oh okay, oh okay, 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 okay. Knight f6 is not necessarily about defending. Oh my goodness. Okay, so basically a very normal like thing to remember in these positions is that you want to prevent your opponent from pushing. You don't want to give your opponent that position. Oh, I was so hyper fixated on this, I didn't realize that. Okay, so we got knight here to prevent our opponent from pushing forward. But then our opponent would still try to push forward, right? So that's why he would go like knight here. Not necessarily this. Oh, I was seeing this so wrong. I was seeing this position so wrong. Now I see it. So the idea is that he wants to push forward, and we kind of want to prevent our opponent from pushing forward. So g6 is very slow because it doesn't stop anything. This move still can come in. So what about if you take here, knight takes, and then you pin your opponent? How does that one? What about that one? Would that be good for black? Slightly. Okay, so that would have been it. So he probably, so g6, is that what he, that's not what happened here, right? That was, I think that happened in the other game. Okay, I'll be interested in see that, seeing that in the other game. Oh, he plays that. Okay, so he played h3. h3 is a very slow move. No, he didn't play h3, sorry. That's just a line I calculated. Okay, so knight f6 is to stop e5. Knight to d2 is, oh, now the things just make more sense to me. I was looking at the position completely wrongly. Yeah, and now if you go bishop, they still go pawn push. And I think he played knight takes. And this should be good for black, right? Yeah. So I play knight first, he brings his knight in, and I go bishop. Right? Because now if he plays takes... No, is this actually correct? No, this is not correct. No, this is not correct because he has this. This is not correct. I'm correct about that, right? Yeah, it's not correct. So instead you go bishop to g4. Like, I get that you want to develop the bishop, so you're basically just developing it anyway. Not just that, but your opponent would want to bring the bishop to e2. So I'm guessing like that's the reason why you play it in this manner. But the way things are going, it makes me feel like you can't stop e4. Rather, you'd want to let e4 happen. Okay, so let's okay, I wanted to play the rook. Look, because now I understand you want to stop e5. This move is not looking so attractive. Oh wait, what about how about this? It's completely bad because of knight h3. Knight h3 e6. Is it really that bad? Knight to f4. Oh, okay. I have this backward pawn and I'm stuck defending it. So I'm not stopping anything. And my bishop is bad. Okay, okay. So the lag is happening because of the engine. So if I'm lagging too much, that's why. Okay. Is there any situation where this would be good after bishop g5? g6. Again, e4 is still coming in. So you don't want to allow e4. You don't want to allow e4. So that's why. Oh, that's why the engine recommends you play h3 here. But even if you play h3 now this move actually makes a lot of sense, right? Because you can go this way. Right? Let me have a sip of my coffee. Okay. So what I should have done after queen c2, knight f3, my opponent plays, they're still trying to push for e4. There's no way I can prevent e4 from happening, but there is something I can do, which is allow my opponent to allow it to happen. So for example, like let's say I do this and he does this, I can take with my knight. Wait, what was the line I mentioned? I mentioned bishop, right? Sorry, I mentioned, yeah, now that's if I could have bishop here. That's if I could have bishop here. If my opponent goes pawn push, I can go knight first. So that's where g6 comes in. But what happens after g6 again? I think e4 just happens either ways, right? And if you take this way, knight jumps in, and that's annoying. So you would probably want to take with the knight first, if I'm correct. Then if knight takes, bishop. Oh, f3, and then the whole e4. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think I'm seeing this now. So that's why g6 is slow. So instead, you develop the bishop. Eventually e4 will happen. Developing the bishop makes it difficult for your opponent to develop his bishop and his knight. Oh, come on. Where do these guys come from? Where do these things come from? Okay. And I mean, it's also to develop your bishop, because eventually you're going to play this move. So let's say knight comes in. I think you just play e5, right? But there was wait, there's a line with e4. I know that after this there was also a line with e4, because if bishop takes, then you also have this move, if I'm right. Right? Yeah. So that means that in this position there are two moves that you can go for. You can either go for knight f6, or you can go for this. This is the safest, this is the most trying. My engine is only, because of the lag, I kind of made it focus on just two lines. Sorry, let's go back. I want to recommend two lines for me. g6? Does he recommend g6 above knight f6? That's strange. Where would they put knight f6? Okay, when I made it three options, it puts knight f6 as equal to bishop to g4. Okay, this I would have to do more when I'm off stream, because if I use the engine at its highest potential, it's really going to mess up my CPU and stuff. So there are two options. The safest one is this, and the most daring one is this. So let's say I play this and my opponent plays pawn takes. Do we still play bishop f5? We still play bishop f5. What's my opponent's refutation to this entire idea? Queen c1. And now it gets crazy. g5. I get that if, for example, takes, you have knight takes, and then now you have a very interesting position coming up. Bishop f4, f6. Now this is a line I have to study. This is 10,000% a line I have to study. Because the truth is, most people don't do this. Right? If you've watched my streams, oftentimes people just take. And taking is not good. Taking is not good. It gives black a certain level of initiative, let's just say. I often win games where I get this position, right? You are just having this minority attack. You're going to weaken your opponent on this side of the board, and eventually you might either get a pass pawn, or you may capture this backward pawn, and then you're pushing for the win. You've seen me play this as white as well, right? So oftentimes, if you've checked my streams, oftentimes, and these are with 2100s, 2200s, I rarely find people after c4 going back like this. So it's not something like it's not a line I'm not aware of, which is why you saw me play the bishop here immediately, because I remember that line. But yeah, I think I would. This is very challenging, and maybe I'll get it somewhere in the future. If he takes, I do know the follow-up, but if he doesn't, I want to go and study this line a bit. Because pawn takes, we have bishop. If the queen goes back, then we have g4. Bishop takes, knight takes, bishop back, f6. Very dangerous line. That's something I would have to study this line, because this would be very crazy. If your opponent takes it, that's just like there's this way of like locking your opponent's structure with this, and that would be very funny. That would be very funny if ever you could get like e4 in this position, defend with your knight. Be a very funny position. But you have to study this because look at this, the king safety. Your opponent gets out of this and then you're in trouble. I think in this you castle queenside, right? Yeah. I'll be shocked if this is still the plan, like pawn push, because pawn takes, this pawn can't take. Queen is disturbing it. You have takes, queen takes. Or even pawn push, if takes, you have this move, right? Takes, you have bishop comes in. That, like, there's some future pressure moves that can be done here. But it's very risky. I'm not the kind of player who's comfortable playing styles like this. But it's something that can throw your opponent off guard, especially with a move like g4. Right. G5, sorry. I keep on mentioning that's white. But let's say bishop takes. Is that the same exact line? Queen to that one, queen to d2, but let's say queen to c1. We take. And if pawn takes what? f6. If your opponent, let's say, plays this, is a bad move, but let's say your opponent plays this. Just start targeting the weak. Okay. But f6 is clear. Like we know the idea of f6, so we know why the engine wants us to play f6, because if takes, we can get our knight into position. We can even reroute our knight through this line to try and get into this position. I'm gonna try something very funny and see if it works. Let's say bishop c5. Turn off the engine. Let's just do this. Does this work? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Maybe you'd have to castle first. The idea I'm trying to bring up is, can we actually play bishop takes, queen takes, then this? There would be no need to do that in this position, because of like the engine would be like, this is a bad move because you have this. But you try and understand. You get the idea I'm trying to bring about in this position, right? You get the idea I'm trying to bring about in this position. Try and see if there's a way that you can try and win this and deflect your queen from the defense of the b2 square. Okay. Next. I'll take note of these. It's sounding like it's raining. I have stuff on the line. That's kind of like wow. Yeah, okay. So that's that. Okay, from here, From here, I played everything almost correctly. I don't think so, but let's just quickly. So I played queen takes b2, queen takes d4, queen takes a1, queen b5. All this I saw. My piece is overheating. All this I saw. I castle queenside, which is very okay here. Bishop takes, and here I didn't play e5. I instead played e6, which is detrimental to my position. So why e5 is what I have to figure out now. Is it because of what I was like calculating? Let me show you what I was calculating in the game. If my opponent plays bishop take, this is kind of why I didn't want to play, but like bishop takes, let's say pawn push, bishop back. Let's just try and explain my point. My point was to bring the bishop here, that way I can bring my queen in and trade it off. That was what I was looking at. So if my opponent took like this, I was thinking about this, but I just couldn't reconcile that this move would make any sense because of, again, this. Funny enough, the engine doesn't like that move. Is this simply okay? Well, if you are kind of wondering why takes here might be bad, the bishop is gonna put me in a lot of trouble. There's no real way out of this. So that's kind of like why the engine doesn't like that. So takes e6. So e5 he takes, and then we go knight to b4. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Oh, knight to b4. If pawn takes, you take. Oh. Oh. Oh, the engine is too good. Because even if the king runs away, for example here, I think just having like bishop, oh, queen c2. I think queen c2, if the king goes here, then you go queen to f5, yeah. Oh, that is so funny. And that's how you get your queen away from the back rank. But you haven't just gotten your queen away from the back rank, you've literally made your opponent's position very bad. Bishop f4, then we trade, right? Oh, that is funny. Still not comfortable with this though. And I'm down on pawns, right? I'm down 2 pawns. My opponent has 2 pawns for the exchange. If played well, I could bounce back, but not so sure. Again, but don't forget, this is a position where I'm worse off. So to manage to save the position with like e5 and going into that complex line, that helps. Again, the point of e5 and not e6 is that you want to develop your bishop with tempo, right? Okay. Now the funny thing is, while we're playing in this position, I was very confident. I literally felt like I was taking back control in this position. I kid you not. Like in this position where my rook comes in, I felt like I was taking control. Engine is like, what do you mean? But like that's literally how I felt in this position. I felt I was taking control. My problem wasn't solved, but I felt like, okay, at this point I am making headway. So I was kind of very encouraged in this position. Once again, though this is a steady stream, I would also like your contributions as well. Like I would like to know what you guys are thinking about the position, what your recommendations are, so on and so forth. I played this game on the 26th of June. That's when we had this tournament. I did poorly. If you want to just quickly see all the games and everything, just quickly hop on the YouTube channel. You see, it's one of my recent videos. You see the analysis of them there, right? So here, sorry, that's not what I was thinking in this position. I played this move, and all these moves are engine moves. But the engine made a statement here, which was very funny for me. My opponent played A, and it wanted my opponent to play knight A3 instead. So it makes perfect sense to play knight H3 because you've unveiled the attack. Now, throughout the game, the kind of mindset I felt my opponent was having was that my opponent wanted to develop the knight with tempo against my queen, right? And don't forget something. The queen covers this file, which is why he played queen b5, and also the rook covers this rank. So with the castles move, all he needs to do is play knight b to d2 at the right moment, and then he can win my queen. That's literally it, right? That's all he needs to do. The issue though is, let's even make a random move here. You can't play this now because I have like queen takes c3. So you have to put, you have to make the position in such a way that c3 doesn't exist. That's what my opponent has to do, right? But I looked at this position briefly, and I was like, wait, don't I just have like knight here? I was wrong, but don't I just have like knight here? Right, but my opponent can still block it this way, I think. Engine says I'm wrong here. This bishop takes e6. Wait, check. And if you take back, queen takes, and then we are getting checkmated. Interesting. But yeah, that was kind of like where my mind was at. So you notice, so for example, I played this move. It's to defend this square. So if my opponent tries anything, I could, for example, play knight takes check, knight takes attacking the queen, and I can try and like save myself in this position. That's kind of like what I was looking at here. So my opponent takes because he realizes what's going to happen if he allows this. He takes, and I take with my rook, and that's when we get into this position. And I'm like, okay, finally I can play queen takes a2. After queen takes a2, maybe he's forced to trade off queens. And mind you, in this position, if he trades off queens, I think that black is definitely fine, right? Let's again random move. But if this, the engine will suddenly change his mind and say black is better. And literally that's what I was thinking should happen. Like for the life of me, I was trying to figure out like what else my opponent could do to kind of help him here, and I could not like see it. I think I got too overexcited. That's why I didn't see it. My opponent played a3, and a3 is good because now I can't capture with my queen. Right? If I could capture with my queen, then he has to face that idea of trading, one, and number two, my queen escaping. That was it. And here the engine is like, okay, you've done your part, you survived everything. Now that is literally how accomplished I felt in this position, and I could see it also on my opponent's face, right? And I spent a lot of time, right, guys? This is my opponent's time at this point. He's at it's not showing. I cropped the screen so you can see he's at 50:48. That's my opponent's time, and I'm at 28:23, right? So it was not straightforward for me at all. And the reason why my time was also so low was because the reason why my time was also so low was because I realized it very late during the game. My clock, you know, when you hit your clock's supposed to pause, and then your opponent's time is supposed to run down. Apparently, whenever I clicked the clock, my opponent's time never ran down. So I don't know if it's ever showed. Yeah, so you can see that here I'm at 32 seconds and my opponent's at 52. Right, so the moment my opponent's time starts going down, that's when I realize it. Right, boom. And that was like painful. So here, I think the engine says I make a mistake. Let me consider that. No, I didn't. Okay. Takes. He plays knight in. I trade off. Rook a6, a necessity. All this I feel confident about. Again, offering the trade of queens. If the trade of queens happens, it's a good thing for me. Knight takes is not a big deal. We just take with our queen. Oh, rook rather. Okay, sorry. No, oh, sorry, we just take the queen. What am I saying? I'm trying to say queen takes. Sorry, it's not a problem because actually both of them are just bad. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Yeah, so queen b2. Queen c4. Everything here we saw it. And then the queen goes back and then rook g6. And this is a good position for white. So I have to keep that e5 move in my mind. Everything else I did very well on. Except those two instances where I could have played e5. And that one instance I could have played knight f6 or g6. Or bishop g4. Other than that, when I was defending, you know, I think it's a superpower of chess players. We start defending, we start playing the best moves when we're on the defense. I'm still hurt I didn't play the automatic move that came to my mind. Bishop d6 100% came to my mind. And what I did not realize about bishop d6 is that if my opponent plays pawn push, now I threaten mate. You know? I did not like... I don't know how long I spent calculating this move. No, I didn't even spend 1 minute. Like, look, I've spent the whole game thinking deeply. And once I'm in a good position, I don't think. And this is what happens. Now, he played c4. And my mind simply told me that, okay, he's playing c4 because he doesn't want me to easily capture the pawn. Not seeing the x-ray of his bishop on my queen. I know for sure that if I saw the x-ray, I would have changed my mind and played something else. If not bishop g4. Now, even with this bishop d6 move I wanted to play, I didn't even think about it because of the x-ray. I thought about it in the terms of, if this bishop takes, my opponent is going to play this move. That's what I saw. Then I can either go rook here or rook here to come in here, or rook down to come in here. Engine is like, no, you should just go rook a6, but you get my point. I was thinking I'd come back and then I'd come in this way. Knight a3 good actually. Best move is knight c3. Same rook a6. Huh. Regardless of whichever line my opponent plays, knight a6 is the move. I'm too focused on attacking. Because with the incoming rook a3, my opponent has some moves to think about. Let's say my opponent plays, I don't know about d5, but It's rook a3. How does d5 stop rook a3? So, like, how do you figure something like this out? That's where my issue comes in. In case you don't understand why I'm a little bit like, if my opponent plays d5, it's rook a1. If my opponent plays c5, it's rook a3. These nuances are the things that kind of disturb me in chess. Okay. There was nothing else here. At this point, my opponent is up a lot of material. My advantage of a rook exchange, so the whole thing was because of the fact that I had the exchange up, or I had the rook for the knight. Sorry, for the bishop. I felt like if we are able to get to an endgame and I'm able to trade off the queens and survive, then my rook will show up. But I messed up that position. So the moment my opponent played d5 in the actual game, and I'm losing my rook, then I was like, yeah, this is just over. Over here, I was actually thinking about a very funny move. I thought about this. Yeah, takes. But there was no draw. There's no draw. If I could have gotten the draw, if I could have got a draw, I would have been very fun. I would have been very happy. But unfortunately, there are no draws in Basing C. Okay, let's move on to the next game. No, not the next game. Let's move on to round 3 because it's similar positions, and I was trying to recognize something. Yeah, d4. So here you go bishop g5, g4. Sorry. I think your opponent still plays e4, right? No, he plays g to f3. Then you play e6. Okay, this we all know. I think in this case, then you play g5. Yeah, I was just kind of figure it out because you take, I think, the bishop, right? Yeah. You take back. Not knight takes immediately, huh? So that's what could have happened. But that's a very interesting move to have to spot. And this was my bad move. E6 is not bad, it's slow. E6 is not bad, it's slow. Uh, bishop here. What after f3? What happens? h5 preventing g4. Chess is chess, as they say. I'm shocked today of all these, 3 is not around. 3 is the one who likes criticizing my moves. And the day when he has all the opportunity to criticize my moves, he's not around. Yeah, so yeah, here my position is bad, but what do I do here to stop the guys from coming in? Just go bishop g4. I have to allow him to. I'll do that anyways, rather than, okay, the point here I'm thinking is that you don't want to create the hook, right? Now we have something called a hook pawn. A hook pawn is something your opponent can hold on to. They can grip, right? They can use it to open up your structure, right? So hook pawns are accessed by pawns, right? If your pawn can gain access to that pawn, then it's a problem, right? So hook pawns are basically pawns that you can gain access to. When pawns are like this, they are not so easy to grasp, right? Because if you attempt, they can just move out of the way. But a hook pawn is not that simple. So what I did here was, hi Gilbert, how you doing? What I did here was I gave my opponent a hook pawn, which he played b5 to for sure take. Let me turn this off a bit. So I should have gone bishop g7 in this position. b5 would be a bad idea here, I think, because you recall the knight e. Okay, yeah, it is almost the same thing. Knight e to g5. That would be a very good idea for me here. And now if my opponent pushes again, this is simply off. Maybe you could argue for this, but I sincerely don't think this works, because there is this move, after which I castle. I mean, you could do it to still get back the piece, right? But that's still like a knight for a rook, and that is not good. So material is equal, but I think black will be fine here. We can castle. I don't know if we want to even castle in this position. Maybe you can even play king up and then bring your rook to try and play the position. I think this position is good for black, especially since you can spoil your opponent's structure if he tries to develop on these two squares. So I think it's good for black. Yeah, slightly good for black. Yeah. So yeah, even though I played a very subpar line, this a6 was this move was just bad. I don't know why, for some reason. Like, I knew this move was bad. How do you find good moves in this position? How do you find good moves in this position? So basically, you look at what your opponent's plans are. You try and figure out what your opponent's plans are. Again, the reason I'm saying it like this is because obviously you always look for your opponent's plans, but in this specific scenario, you are in a bad position and your opponent is having very clear, straightforward ideas. So if, for example, you want to find good moves in a position like this, you want to first of all take note of what your opponent is trying to do, and then figure out how you can stop it, or how you can how you can deal with it such that even though when his plan happens, he doesn't gain as much as he would have originally wanted to make, right? So it's very clear that your opponent wants to, for example, push b5, and he wants to disrupt your pawn structure here because your king is not castled. So one of the things you can aim to do is to try and castle, right? So bishop g Bishop g7. Bishop g7 is good to play here because your opponent could play the bishop g7 move themselves. Okay, here it's not that big of a deal. Maybe b5, then bishop g7, bishop e5 here. That could happen. But you want to try and get your king out. You want to try and connect your rooks such that when b5 or b6 comes in, if there's ever a sacrifice or whatever that occurs on the board, your king is in a prime position to deal with it. I here, for some reason, I blacked out and played a6, which basically gives my opponent a hook pawn, and that's actually bad because you allow your opponent's plan to work, right? Yeah, so that's about it. Hi, I'm the one watching you. Welcome, Pradhan. Good to have you with us. What's my rating? My rating on lichess is 2000. My FIDE rating is 1600, which is very abysmal. Anyways, so that is what you want to do. Your FIDE rating is 1890. That's nice. That's nice. Hopefully this year when I play in the nationals, I can boost my rating to like 1700. Yeah. I want to get my rating closer to my lichess rating because 1600 it's just sucky to have that rating. Anyways, yeah, so that's basically what you want to do. And I didn't do that. I completely messed this position up. Yeah. Again, e5 comes up because again it's always about tempo, right? If your opponent takes with the bishop, you take with the knight, they take with the bishop, they take with the pawn, sorry. Why am I using my keyboard? And then you can do this. Does it win you the game? No, but at least you are not always defending. Why is this position bad for me? Because of the queen side. If you observe the queen side, my opponent has a very strong majority of on the queen side. Depending on how they play the position, they can match these pawns up the board, and eventually he's going to make a passed pawn. Why did I move my knight back? So I played a6 here. A6 is bad because my opponent can play pawn push. If I take, rook takes, and then I can't do anything about that. So in this position, you have to do something. And the question is like, where do you move your knight to? And that's kind of like what I was trying to figure out. So what I concluded on was this bishop is annoying because it helps my opponent to promote their pawn. And if I can deal with my opponent's bishop somewhat, maybe I'll be able to mitigate my losses, right? So I jump knight b8 first. My opponent plays this move, b4, and then knight jumps into d7. The point being, now I have knight to b8, knight to b6. He jumps back, and then I have access to this square, and this happens. How is this bad? You don't see the pressure coming in. Black is going to be very defensive in this position. Black is going to be very defensive in this position. Second of all, very soon this guy is going to, the knight is going to develop. He's going to castle. The rooks are going to join in. This is akin to a minority attack, but a majority attack basically. I can't defend this easily. Like if you count the pawns coming to my king side, so if we just break it to queen side, right? If we just break it to queen side, and we look at the pawns, right? He has 4 pawns. I have 2 pawns. So let's just say 2 cancels 2. My opponent has 2 potential pass pawns. 2 potential pass pawns in this position. The onus is the responsibility falls on my opponent to find the best way to create those passed pawns, right? And it's not so easy for me to do anything. For example, if you also look at my bishop here, this bishop is bad, right? I can't do anything with my dark squared bishop. So I only have like basically 3 active pieces in the moment, which is also similar to what my opponent has here, plus the pawns. So when you combine the total number of resources I have to deal with the queen side versus my opponent's total number of pieces to attack my queen side, my opponent wins that struggle. Yeah, only 887. Oh, that's fine. It's all about the potential, right? So in the position here, there's, if you look at the position from this point on, it doesn't really make much sense to say that, like, if you don't really understand what's going on, it doesn't make much sense to say that this is bad. But when you take all things in a whole, when you take the plans in a whole, you begin to see what your opponent has, right? Lagan, how you doing? For a second I thought you wouldn't drop in. So it's taking everything as a whole, right? And it all stemmed from me misunderstanding something in the opening here. So yeah. And I myself as white, I often win this position. So I myself, when I play this position as white, I often win this position. So it's a very strong position for black. Your opponent spends his time defending. This. And oftentimes the best way to try and survive these positions is to counter-attack in the center. But because of this a6 move, I never had the chance to do that. A6 was one of the worst moves I could ever play. Just warning you, my PC is overheating. If it goes off, bear with me. But it's fine for now. Okay, so b5. I think I did find a funny story here though. Very funny story here. In this position, right? This is literally me being a douchebag, right? Okay, no, it's not. No, I wouldn't say I was being a douchebag. No, I'm losing this position, right? And I need my opponent to mess up, to not play the right move so that I can win. And in this position, my opponent picked up his bishop, and literally he picked it up from the board and held it, and then put it back on the board, which is, touch rule. So I knew he wanted to play something like takes, like b takes a6, but I was like, nah, bro. The rule states that if you touch the piece, you have to play. So I called him back, and he had to make another move, and he made a move bishop to g3. So that's why bishop to g3 is the move, because touch rules. And this gave me enough time to play knight to b6, which is good for me, right? So rules are rules, right? I needed that. Your dark square bishop was completely locked. Why didn't you activate it? This bishop, my opponent did a very nice move here. So let's go back a bit, right? So my opponent plays e4. I have to address e4, right? I have to address e4. Knight takes, pawn takes, and this pawn is hanging. Bishop takes, right? I played this move, which I think is slow. Bishop f5. Ideally, or much better probably, would have been e5, which activates my bishop. But I did not see that, and I didn't want to play e6 as well, right? But e5 may have been good here. Okay, so I played bishop here, defending the pawn and target x-raying the queen, right? Discovered attack. My opponent brings his queen back, and I can't retreat my queen anywhere. I play this move, he still messes up my position, right? This is just bad, right? So, and I can't go all the way back because he has this, right? I can't step here because he has that, right? So I have to trade off, and now I play e6. So I'm just showing this is why I haven't developed the bishop yet. Then my opponent plays b4, and here I have the chance to do something with my bishop, right? But I completely blanked out on. I know my opponent wants to play b5, and I know I can't stop b5, but for some reason I still played a6. When I played a6, I face palmed myself because I'm like, why did I play a6? And now my opponent plays b5. So there was no point where I could develop the bishop, right? So yes, you're 100% correct. My bishop is not doing anything, but that's literally what was happening in the game, which is why I didn't move my bishop, right? So and this is another nice move from my opponent, like this intermezzo move, right? He could have just instantly gone takes, but he decided to go bishop first because he realizes that by forcing me to move my rook, I can no longer castle. So very top-notch move by my opponent there. He finally plays b4. I didn't like b4 because I felt like now this pawn is a problem for my opponent, and hence why I immediately targeted it. Now, why did my opponent save the bishop? Like, even though he picked up the, why did he save the bishop? Yes, because I called out his move. He should have played it takes here, right? But the whole point is you want to keep your bishop targeting this diagonal. If the bishop goes in here, I'm completely solid, right? I'm completely fine. I can just develop my bishop maybe even here, because if you take and I take, I can even take with my rook, right? And I'm completely fine. So he has to go back, and by him going back, I now gain access to this square, which is actually where I wanted to go to, because now these pawns are loose, right? So that was basically what happened. I just completely messed up stuff. And funny enough, after bishop g3, you could have activated the bishop by bishop h6. Yeah, but that is too slow. Look, I'm dead if I do. Like, bro, don't forget what your opponent is also doing. Right? Don't forget what your opponent is. If I do this, my opponent is completely happy to go with this. And it's not the exact same thing. What do you call it? Because now I can take. And there's no threat whatsoever on my side. I'm literally fine with this position. He can take whether with his bishop or with whatever, but it doesn't really matter what he takes with. I am completely fine with this position. This is not scary in any way, shape, or form. Wait, what am I saying? No. That's not what I'm saying. Wait. I'm talking about for my opponent. If I play bishop h6 here, sorry, bishop h6 here, he has takes. Wait, what am I missing here? Takes, rook takes. Yes, rook takes. And if rook takes, bishop takes. Aha, yes. So this is the issue now. So the issue now is that I have nothing to deal with these guys. So for example, if maybe it's not so bad. Wait. Maybe it's not so bad. Bishop h6. Huh. Why did I not look at bishop h6 here? There was a position I missed bishop h6, but I don't think bishop h6 here works. Why doesn't it work? Because this move is very necessary. Why did I not take bishop h6? What was the reason? What was the reason for bishop h6? What was the reason? Is it bishop h6? I think, what, c4? Yes, c4. Now I can't get access to this square. I can't take here as well. So c4 makes it hard for me to make a move here. And what do I do? Let's say I connect the rook, because that's another thing I would like to do. If I connect the rooks, then I think he still comes in with this move. And yeah, we still run into these issues. Yeah, so I think that's why. Let me just check with the engine, because bishop h6, I looked at it and I was like, nah, this move doesn't work. I needed to play this. Let me just see. Bishop g3. I think you're bringing up a good point. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, knight b6 is the best move here. Why doesn't this work? Oh, it's still b takes a6. Knight to b6 here. The same things. Knight to d5. Exactly the same thing. Bishop to c4. Bishop to c4 is not a move my opponent would see. I would like this move because I don't think my opponent sees bishop to c4. Bishop to c4 is a crazy move. Because I would be fine with this, to be frank. Like, I do see the future issues in this position with these pass pawns, but I would prefer this position to what I had. So why? Like, my opponent still has that passed pawn, but I don't think it's as dangerous. Sorry, let me turn off my engine. Yeah, I think your move is fine. Lag, and I think your move is fine. But after c5, your square of d5 will be free again. Let me go back to that. After c5, where's that line that I was looking at? You are correct, by the way. I know what you're trying to say, but you're correct. Yeah, I'll get this square. Takes. We can still go takes, but this is where. Okay, maybe not. Again, I'm looking at this guy. That's another thing. But these two pawns are still going to be an issue. That's the point, right? The point is my opponent is always going to have this incoming pressure on me, and it will be very difficult. If I even come in here, he has bishop. It will be very difficult for me to make progress. But I like it. I don't really hate it. I think this is even good for. Okay, that's too far to say. If I say good for black, that's strange. But I do have the potential of bringing my rook in. So I don't really hate it. I still think it's good for white, but I don't really hate it. I don't really hate it. I think your idea is fine. I think your idea is fine. In a losing position, I think your idea is fine. Yeah. And again, bishop c4, I don't know how you... I get why bishop c4, but I don't know how my opponent sees bishop c4. So I like your idea. Yeah, I like your idea. Bishop... Yeah, I could have played bishop h6. I definitely could have played bishop h6. Why was I so averse to that idea? Now, even though the engine does agree with my move, now let me explain what I'm saying here. So the move I played, though it was like the best move of the engine, everything hangs on the balance, or everything hangs in the balance, right? It's a very topsy-turvy position, and my opponent is always just one move from promoting. Though that was the best line, it is uncomfortable. Maybe in the long run I would prefer that one to this, but just looking at the it's complicated for you. Don't worry, just ask questions wherever you are lost, and I'll take my time, right? I'm being a little bit too advanced with the terms and everything, but I would, sometimes there are some positions they are losing, but they are losing, but they look much easy to deal with as compared to the other ones. Because if you were to compare, for example, this, where's the position here? Let's say this. Compo share would not be good. Let's say this. Maybe I don't have to play like this, but let's just allow this, right? If you have to compare this position, probably with the one that actually happened in the game, sorry, I think you'd be much more comfortable with the other one than this, because this is literally not, yeah, like you have to be precise. If you're not precise, you lose from this point on, right? So I think in the long run, I would pick your move, Lagan, because I think that's a much easier position to deal with. Though again, your opponent is still winning and your opponent still has the advantage. I would pick your move again. So what I said again, what I was trying to say was, this was a position where I could have played bishop h6, but I didn't see it. This was the position I was talking about, right? I could have played bishop h6 here. Don't forget, I am up the exchange, so giving him that is not a problem. I'm up a piece, so I've given him back the piece. Yes, he's going to gain this back, but it's not so simple, right? This position I'm okay with. The pawns are split, I can deal with them, right? He can't easily free this rook because my rook blocks him, and the game goes on, right? So I would have been able to play this position for sure. But I completely missed out on that move. So bishop h6, I knew later on in the game was a saving grace, but in the position you mentioned, it's a very nice move. I prefer that move to what I played, even though again the engine still thinks that this is the way to go. Very nice. I'm enjoying the suggestions from you guys. Turn on the engine and compare advantage. Oh no, that position is winning for black. It's black has the advantage there. If I remember, where was it? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, black has the advantage here. Black has the advantage here. For that one, I know that black has the advantage there. So all in all, it's much better. But again, the complexity of the position and how black's position hangs in the balance. Looking at it optically, maybe for the grandmasters you'll be like, oh, I mean, this is obviously good for black, but I mean, I'm looking at it in a different way, like in a much more understandable position. C5, right? Takes. Bishop takes, knight takes, bishop back. Ooh. So yeah, it prefers the other one to this one, but I prefer this one. I think I'm missing something though. I think I'm missing something. I might be making bad moves for white here. So in this position, you play what? B takes a6, king e7. King e7 is a strange move. It's going to lag because of my PC, but give me a second. Let me just look at this. Rook a5. Like these moves, maybe someone sees them, but I don't think it's my opponent who sees these ones. B takes a6, bishop takes a6, e5. Like these are strange. No, but this was not a rapid game. This was 60 plus 30. This was standard. Yeah, 60. Was it 60 plus 30 or 90 plus 30? I think it was 60 plus 30. Yeah, it was 60 plus 30. But if I recall, in this position, we're both at 20 minutes. So, not so straightforward. Like, I think you can figure the move out. I think that you can figure the move out, but it might take you too much time to figure it out or something like that. That was my blunder here. Yeah. So yeah, let's. No. Lagan. Practically speaking, right? This we don't look at the engine always, right? Though the engine says what it says, sometimes look at a position objectively, right? Sometimes look at the position objectively. Which position seems easier to deal with? Which position does not have so much complexities hanging in the balance that you might miss something? Sometimes, personally, I like solid chess because when you play solid chess, there's not so much tricky stuff your opponent can do against you. That's why I play the openings I play. Most of the openings I play lead to solid positions where the board is easily understandable. I don't like these tactical positions where there's something hanging here, there's a potential tactic here, there's something going on in the center, there's something going on here. I don't like those messed up positions. I like, mostly if you watch, okay, maybe sorry to girl boss, but like maybe most people, when they watch my game, they can easily tell what's going on as compared to some other people's games, because my games are very simple, very straightforward, not complicated, right? So even though the engine is saying that one continuation is better than the other, sometimes as a chess player, objectively looking at a position, which one is easier for you to deal with, which one is easier for you to calculate, which one is easier for you to avoid a lot of problems, take that option, right? Of course, where the exemption to that whole idea is, the exemption to that idea is only if that leads you into a losing position. If that variation leads you into a very bad position where it's like absolutely chaotic, like you're dead, then just play the complex line and hope to come out alive, right? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But you can always ask any question. It may not be on the board, but it may not be on the board, but you can ask any question. I'll try my best to explain it in an easier way. So personally, that's how sometimes I think. If I see a position and I see multiple options, and one option is too difficult for me to figure out, even if I'm aware that it is going to be maybe slightly problematic, I still play that line because I can easily deal with it. Now, if you look at this position, this is one of those exemption positions where I played the complex line, right? So I played the complex line here simply because that was the only way out. I couldn't find any other. I couldn't see Lagan's move, right? So I just jumped into the complex line. Sorry, let's. Right, I jumped. This is the line normally I'll tell you to avoid, but it looks like if I don't do this, I don't have anything. So I jumped into this line. Right, engine says it's winning. I know, but it's complex. And you see how complex it is. So for example, I said for example, rook takes a1 check. My opponent comes in this way. I can just block with bishop h4, h6. My opponent takes and I jump in here. Of course, I lose this, but that's completely fine. You can deal with this position. But I missed bishop h6, right? But this is the thing. this is actually correct, right? Then the king comes in, and this is where I blundered. I was calculating in this position this move, and this is actually the best move in the position. But it's so complex. I spent about 10 minutes on this position because I just kept. There's so much, right? There are so many intermezzos, there are so many sidelines, there are so many ifs and buts. Should I play lichess tournaments to get higher rated players, or should I just play with your level? I think you can just use the lichess rated pool, the random pool, but set it -50 and +200. You have to just set your rating pool. So let me do this in a new tab. Yeah, so custom and rating filter. So -500. Wait, I think there's a, but how do you do it? This custom, I think the lobby does that. Why not -0? Oh, I mean, you can do -0, but -50 is still within your range. That's kind of like why I'm saying the -50. -50 is still within your range, so that at least you get someone, right? You don't want to cut off everyone. Yeah, but -50, they should still be your range. I even concur to say that -100 may still be in your range. Though in chess, 100 elo difference is a big deal, but I would say that they are kind of within your range. Yeah, so you can do that, but I don't know if, is it here? I kind of wonder. Yeah. Now I'll put you in there. But the quick pairing is mostly what I've seen is -100 +100 for the random pool. I don't like playing in the lichess, especially the arenas. You always meet these low rated. Anytime I play in an arena, I come out losing more rating points than I gain, because mostly you find the lower rated players in the arenas. No slight at them, but I'm talking about arena. Maybe the Swiss, you find very good ones there, but the random pool is fine. Yeah, I would recommend playing those who are equal to you and slightly higher than you. Now, playing against players who are significantly weaker than you, I would say, now I don't have any statistics to back this, but I would say that playing against people who are lower rated than you might be detrimental to your chess, because the higher you go, right, the less mistakes you make, but the lower you go, the more mistakes they make. So you are going to simply beat them, because majority of the time they are going to be making a consistent number of mistakes, right? So it gives you this false sense of I'm strong, you know. So I wouldn't advise, like, I'm not saying you can't play against them, but I would advise not consistently playing against them. It makes you feel like, oh, I'm good. Like, it gives you this false sense of, oh, I'm a very strong chess player, and you kind of become lackadaisical in your calculation, because it's like, oh, my opponent is going to like blunder at some point. It takes away your caution. It takes away your ability to calculate. So you can't play against them, but avoid overplaying with them. That's sometimes why you realize that a lot of strong players shy away from playing weak players. It's not because they don't like them. I think that consistently playing over with them for a very long time may make you become complacent, right? Again, like I said, this is my personal view. I don't have any science to explain it or anything, but in my own experience, whenever I played a lot of weak players consistently, I became very lackadaisical in my calculations. So play against people who don't do that. I know it by name. I don't know it by position. But what I do believe is that don't be playing those types of stuff. They are very good at the low levels, but if you want to improve in chess, you have to avoid them. That's what I would say. What is this? You would have to avoid them. I know somebody who mostly gets his wins by playing these quick trick openings, but very soon, when everybody catches on, it's going to, the problem with these gambits is that if your opponent knows how to play against them, it always puts you in the bad position. So it mostly depends on your opponent not knowing what to do. As much as I love the alien gambit, by watching it, I've not learned it in any way. What I often realize is that it relies on his opponent not knowing what to do. It's a good gambit, but it often relies on his opponent not knowing what to do, right? So I would advise that if you want to become better at chess, pick like good openings, like trusted openings. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. You know, we're always trying to prove others wrong, you know. Oh no, I'll make sure. Look, the Scandi is drawish. I will not defend this. I will not defend the Scandi by saying that it's not drawish. The Scandi is 100% drawish. How should you counter the fright? You know, I know these things by name, but I suffer the. I'm good, Michael. How you doing? Let me see. Isn't the fried liver like an attempt at the Isn't? I could be wrong. I thought is the fried liver an attempt at the Scholars Meets? I can't remember for the life of me. Do I play on chess.com? Yeah, but these days I do it so rarely. But I'm pen-mason on chess.com. How do you even play the fried liver? I know it, but I don't know how I know it. Oh boy, it's been a while. Isn't it like some 96 line or something like that? I can't for the life of me recall what it is. Sorry. Oh no, I jumped away. So here, so this is what I missed in this position. It's king b2, rook to b1, takes, rook takes b4, and your opponent can take, and your opponent can promote. Okay, let's look at that. Yeah, e4, e5, knight f3, bishop c4, bishop c4, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6. What? Sorry, what am I saying? Bishop c4, knight f6. Why is playing knight f6? What? Knight c6. Okay. Knight f3, knight c6. Of course, you have to defend this. I'm so funny. Here and then here. And I think the idea has to do with the knight coming in this way, right? If I can remember. There are these funny lines. I mean, you can play this. This is like the very simple, straightforward idea. It is white. Is it right? Is it a fried liver? I'm trying to remember. Why are they not mentioning that it's called the fried liver? This is the two knights defense. Come in, let me do this on another screen. Give me a second. Fried liver. Is that really it? Oh, I hate when my PC is slow like this. Come on. Okay, e4, e5, knight f2, bishop. Yeah, that's yeah. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, if they do jump in here targeting this, you counter this way. I was trying to see if you do it as white. That's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if you do this, but I think this is actually wrong. That's what I was trying to figure out. It's knight g5, yeah. That's why I was like, I know there's something about a knight coming in here. That's why I was like, is it that you played this move? Like, for example, you play bishop here, your opponent jumps in. Actually, you can't even jump in there. So I was looking at knight a6, but knight a6 is funny. Yeah, so... But it's a complicated way to where are we? E4, E5, knight C, knight F3, knight C6. bishop c4, knight here. Let's promote this. Yeah, so if your opponent plays here, this is where it gets tricky, because takes, now your knight is being under attack, and that's where people get what do you call it? What's the word? But you can go, for example, I think you can go knight a5. I'm kind of yeah, you can't play this, right? Yeah, so I think go knight a5. Trying to look at all the the confusing lines you can make here. Yeah, but that's, yeah, d5, knight a5. I don't know if queen e2 is a move, but I doubt it. I guess it doesn't look like, because now there's this, and this is not good for you. Oh, okay. Nah, you wouldn't want to go this far, would you? Oh, actually you would. Yeah. Sorry, I'm missing some lines. Then knight takes pawn, and then many people sack the knight on f7. Yeah. That's, I mean, sorry, where am I? So for example, instead of d5, some people will take here and then this, right? But I don't like with certain opponents, it won't happen, right? It just won't happen. Because you see what the problem is, right? Like we mentioned here, you see what the problem is. The problem is your opponent is targeting you here. Queen here doesn't stop it. Nothing else stops it. So there's only one thing that makes any sense to try and stop it. And again, if bishop takes, pawn takes, you can take with your queen, and you've solved the issue. But if you take with your queen, your opponent can play this to stress you out because you're completely fine there. Or you can even, if I'm right, you can even target this guy and you're completely fine. I could be wrong, but anyway. No, takes pawn after d4. Takes pawn after d4. Wait, after d4. Sorry, takes pawn after d4. Sorry, here. So takes with what? The pawn. Takes pawn. Then knight takes here. Then if king takes, then bishop takes. Nope, not bishop takes. Queen comes in check. Because if the king hides this way, that's a problem. If the king hides in this way, you can take here. But why do I feel like there's something much more annoying that your opponent can play? But I don't think certain players would fall for this. Like I would like, it's good and it's fun at the beginner stages of chess, but I think you should avoid them. Like, I'm not saying that don't play them, don't misunderstand them, but I'm saying that if you really want to like improve, you just play the trusted openings that lead you into good positions. Because again, I even at my stage, I don't really see these anymore, and I'm often like very, I think if someone plays the alien gambit against me, I'll lose, probably, because I've not seen it before. But anyways, you can really, okay, I don't play e4 anymore, that's why. But I'll say don't take the pawn. Don't play the move that gives your opponent what he's looking for, right? I thought like, aren't you like 1900 or 1800? I forget, or 1500. Okay, if you're reading 1500 and below, yeah, that makes sense. I don't play e4 anymore, so I often don't read that. But when I do play e4, it's mostly Sicilian and 4 knights and all those kind of things. But here, if your opponent takes, you just target the bishop. If they take with the bishop, you deal with it this way. If they try coming in here, you just jump back. Yeah, or I can even I hesitate on these types of moves. But anyways, you can take here. Yeah, so if they take with the bishop, you simply just take. If they take, you can take with your queen. Queen is defending this, so even if they try and attack you here, it doesn't work. You have bishop here trying to pressure the knight. If your opponent plays pawn push, you can still take bishop takes, and then knight jumps in, targeting your opponent. Sorry, that's actually very bad. Why did I miss the fact that the queen is hanging? You can just trade off there, right? So there's I mean, these are the ways you want to like deal with. You want to deal with the whole thing. Don't play into your opponents. I have sort of like a philosophy. If my opponent you don't have to buy into this philosophy, and it could be wrong. It could be a wrong philosophy. But if my opponent gambits once, I'll take the first one. If he gambits the second time, I won't take the second one. That's like, so the first one I'll take, second one I won't take. That's usually how I play my gambits. But I do also like maybe I don't play them often on stream, but there are gambits that I do. For example, play Albin counter gambit. I do play like some of these funny lines. But again, a lot of times these gambits are looking for quick wins. These types, now the Queen's Gambit is different, but most of these gambits are looking for these quick wins, and they rely heavily on your opponent not knowing what's going on. And that's my issue with them. It's just, oh, if my opponent doesn't know what's going on, I can win. But again, at higher levels, of course, I'm not a good example because I didn't even know the moves. But I didn't know the moves of the fried liver off head. But at higher levels, they are going to see what's going to happen, right? How do you counter London c5? c5. c5 is the way to go. Now, if you don't know who your opponent is, I wouldn't recommend playing c5 here. This is actually what sometimes the engine would recommend, but I would recommend just going d5. And if they play the accelerated, then you go c5, right? Like this. Now, if they don't go, for example, knight takes, let's say they take here, and they go something like e6, right? The idea is to get this, get control. You're sacrificing the pawn to get control over the center. Eventually, you win this pawn back. But c5 is the way to go. Oftentimes, when you're playing against stronger opponents, they tend to not c6. They tend to play like this. Some would pin you. I realize that most beginners play this move, which is completely fine. Some much more experienced players would maybe play like knight here. Again, it's not bad. Bishop here is not bad. I'm not saying it that it's bad. What I'm saying is that mostly when I play against stronger rated players, they tend to not play bishop to g5, right? You don't really bother about your opponent bringing their bishop here. You always have c4. That allows you to bring your bishop here. So oftentimes what happens is they intend to play c5. If you want to play knight here, you can play knight here. If you want to play bishop, ideally I would recommend finding a way to develop your bishop as early as possible, and like this line that I mentioned. But it's mostly c5. The Benoni is a very complex position, so I don't recommend. Yeah, so for example, this is what they will do. I personally don't like doing this, like going this kind of position. Sorry, is it, wait, it takes here, I think is the line, something of that sort. If I don't remember my Benko or my Benoni, that's about it for me. But c5 is the way to go if you want to counter the landing. I know you're not you're very uncertain about this move, but yeah, that's it. I know it feels uncomfortable, but you will learn it, right? Boom, boom. If they jump in with their knight, you don't go e4, you just play this move. They can't defend this way because your knight just takes, and yeah, that's life. Okay, so you definitely get the pawn back. Don't be afraid about losing the pawn. You definitely get the pawn back. Okay, so that's what I missed. Very sad game. So yeah, sometimes just make the practical decision. So the way I tried to get out of it was that I played this, brought the bishop up, but this line that I chose, I lose a lot more, right? And here I made a stupid mistake of falling for a fork, and that was it. Depends on the position, but sometimes yes, sometimes no. Like everything you've been taught in chess at the beginning is foundational knowledge, and yes, you should follow what your coaches are saying. But when you get better at chess, you realize that some of them are not always bad. The question is, for example, activity. How can I ensure that my pieces are as active as possible? If it requires that you damage your pawn structure to gain that activity, then that's fine. If it's to prevent your opponent from getting something, that's fine, right? There are many different, I can't list them all off the top of my head, but there are certain situations where you have to forego the rules, like always capture towards the center. Very rare occasions you should not capture towards the center, right? So you always have to, like, take, for example, we always told avoid double pawns, right? One of my favorite lines in the sorry I think some people play like this. It's c5, but I don't like the way I'm playing it. One of my favorite lines in the London is if my opponent takes my bishop here and I play this. Why? I recognize that I have very good control over the central squares. No, you don't play. No. So how do I put it? You when you begin to understand what you are looking for in positions, then you begin to know, like, so for example, the question you have to ask yourself is, let's it's always about pawn structure. So let's, for example, take a random pawn structure, right? Let's say board editor. Let's say we have something like this. Let's hope my memory is good. This is black. Why am I doing that? Right? Boom, 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 boom. Right. So you have a pawn structure like. Is this how the hanging pawn structure looks like? Yeah, you have a pawn structure like this. The question you would have to ask yourself is, where would I want my pieces to be? You can't see my board, sorry. Let me do a new one. Would the other board work? Let's see if this will work. This, I have to do a new one. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me just do a new one, just for this explanation. So you basically have to understand what the position is asking you, what the position demands, right? You are not just like moving for the sake of moving. You always have to, like, find out. Sorry. You always have to try and find out, like, what does the position demand that I do? So you look at a pawn structure like this and you have to ask yourself, where would I want my pieces to be? What would I want to do? Right? So for example, you would like a bishop either on this possibly on this diagonal. You may like a bishop on this diagonal. You may like a knight on this square, or you would like a knight on this square, or maybe down the line you look at c5 and you would like a knight on this square. So you have to find out, like, where do my pieces want to be? Where can my pieces exert the most influence on the board, right? The board is, think of the board like a different language that you're trying to learn, right? You notice one or two signs, like, for example, I was learning the Japanese hiragana, right? You see, let's say today you learned 1 or 2 or 3 hiraganas. You begin to notice them on the board. So the board is sort of like talking to you, and you are supposed to decipher what the board is saying, right? So this is a semi-open file. A rook would like to be on a semi-open file. Knight would like to be on outposts. Bishops would like to be on open diagonals, right? These are the things you have to be considering when making your moves. The second thing is, for example, the pawn structure tells you what you should do. So let's say we have like a Carlsbad pawn structure. How does the Carlsbad even look in the first place? Like this. Let's say you have a Carlsbad pawn structure. That's how it looks. No. Give me a second. Let me do this. Sometimes these recreations are very difficult. Let's say you have a, yeah, this is how to look like. Yeah, let's say you have a Carlsbad pawn structure. There are certain ideas. So okay, first of all, apex pawn is your furthest push pawn. Apex pawn tells you which direction you're supposed to. I disconnected. Like the white. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to my phone. I was gonna ask if you could resend the message. It didn't show. I'm sorry, I got disconnected for a second. And please, if you haven't, please subscribe. It really does help me out. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does help me out. Oh boy. Where are the chats? I didn't see Lagan's last message. So there. So what I was saying before my stream got disconnected. Okay, let the white rook on a1 and double pawns on the b file. Oh, I think I even had a position like that. Let me show you that. I think I had a position like that, Lagan. I think it was against Julian, right? I had a position similar to what you're trying to. Yeah, for example, this. Completely fine. Completely fine. Let me go back to my original. This is completely fine. This is completely fine. Lagan. This is completely fine. Lionheart Gambit. Guys, you are mentioning a gambit I've never mentioned before. When I saw lion, I thought you were going to say the black lion or the anti-Philidors. Just give me the moves of the lion's heart gambit. I don't know what that is. Give me the moves for that. Let me even check for that. Oh, it's supposed to be against the Scandinavian, right? He said Lionheart. I'm looking at the moves here. It says it's against my opening, which is a Scandi, which is when people play this. Knight here and then b4. Funny enough, it's not. Sometimes people don't take, sometimes you take, and the point is you've gotten a pawn. That's about it. And this is a long-term issue for you. This is a long-term issue for you. That's the best I can explain. I think I've met opponents play something like this, and I think that's where sometimes I get confused. But yeah, no problem, no problem. I think I have a game where my opponent played this and I took, but you don't always have to take. I mean, in the olden days, we say that what the truth of a gambit is taking it, right? So mostly if someone gambits a pawn, you should take it. That's kind of like the olden days. But yeah, you can just simply hide back. If your opponent keeps trying to chase you down, the reason I'm going here and not this way is because there's still a problem here. And there is a weakness on this on this side of the board. But if once your opponent is able to equalize, again, I'm not so sure about how he would equalize. Maybe you played bishop here. I don't think you'd want to play this, but we could play this to try and force something like this and then come back and then develop either ways. Eventually we get the c6 move in, the knight has to retreat, and then we play from there. But don't quote me on these lines. You feel like you're 1400 because your opponent blunder and get their queens pinned to their king. Well, the truth is, most people within that rating range blunder very easily. But 1400, I don't know if that's. I think it's because you play gambits. The thing is, again, the lower you go, the much easier it is to fall for a gambit, right? And I mean, even when you become advanced and you kind of fall for a gambit, you still find a way to mitigate your losses. And what often happens is, like with these players who solely play gambits and don't really understand the intricacies of chess, what happens is that if you go off script, they collapse, right? Because they don't actually know what's happening on the board. So I am more for understanding what is happening on the board rather than these tricky gambit lines. I was saying something. What was your question? You were asking about what if you double the pawns on the b file and there's a rook open. This is literally a game I had. Completely fine, 100% fine. This is not a bad position in the slightest. But if you think that that's the case, yeah, and if you think that's the case, then stop playing gambits and try and play much more mainline openings, queen's gambits, English. But find one that fits your style, right? Of the mainstream openings, there's one that would fit your style, right? Catalan, Karukan, Slav, semi-Slav, French, Petrov, Italian, Spanish, Berlin. If that fits your style, right? Pick an opening that fits your style. Because what you do realize is that when you play different openings, it opens your mind to see different positions that exist on the board. That's why mostly we don't like we speak against only playing one opening or playing system openings like the London system, which I play. We often speak against playing against them simply because when you play in such a way, you don't actually improve in chess. What is helping you win is the trick of it. What is helping you win is the simplicity of it, not that you actually understand the position, right? So that is mostly why people kind of speak against it. But why I don't speak against, for example, the London system is chess is a difficult game. Not everybody has the ability to sit down and study like the grandmasters and everything. So based on where you want to get to in chess and based on what you want to do in chess, the London system can help you simplify it. Yes, I'll say that if you only play the London system, your understanding of chess positions is going to be very, very limited. But because of how difficult chess is and what someone is looking for in his chess career, that's what we like to attack. Queen's Gambit declined is good for you, and then you blunder and get mated. Then work on your hanging pieces. Work on it. Yeah, you can. I'm not an attacking player, but if you give me an attack, I'll play it. I will attack once I get the opportunity, but I'm not an attacking player. And the thing about attacking is, if you're an aggressive player, you should learn to literally be defensive. You don't just attack for the sake of attacking. You attack because one, your back is covered, and two, there's a way out. Sometimes the problem with most attackers sometimes is that they get too lost in the source of attacking. Let me see if I'll find a game I played. I'm speaking a lot here. There's a game I played. Do I have a FIDE rating? My FIDE rating is bad, but I'm 1600 on FIDE. I'm 2000 on lichess. Where is this? Yes, I think. Yeah, this is a game against an aggressive player. This guy is an aggressive player. This is an aggressive player, and oftentimes when I play against him, my mind is like, you know what? I will not give this guy any way of attacking me. So mostly I play very solid against this guy so that he doesn't get an attack, because he's always looking for a way to attack, right? Then wait, is this me? Yeah. No, this is not the game. This is a different game. This is not a game. This is not a game. I might have to go to chess.com to find this game. Give me a second. Let me go to chess.com to try and find this game. That was last year, right? Or was it last 2 years? I think it was last year. Chess.com, stop being slow. PC is overheating. If my PC goes off, please understand. What game was that? What tournament was that? What tournament was that? I'm trying to figure out where the game is. Give me a second. Oh, what tournament? I played it very recently. Why can't I remember what it was? Is it Nationals? I think it's this. No. Oh wait, Sing. It's not Arush, it's Sing. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out Sing, right? It's Sing Manu. Where is it? Why can't I find this? I just opened this. How come I can't see it anymore? But I just opened this. How come I can't see it? What? This Arush. I need Sing Manu. Where did I play that? Can you do a pawn on the last rank versus king and queen? That one depends on the position. Give me a sec. I'm trying to figure out this. Trying to find this thing. It depends on how close the king is to the pawn. If the king is too far away, then you can draw it at the last rank. But if the king is close enough, and mostly these come in. Why can't I find this thing? I literally made a video on this. Why can't I find it? Is it on Give me a second. Let me find out what tournament that was. Sorry. Give me a second. Wait. Give me a second. I'm trying to show an attacking player something about attacking, and for some reason I can't find the game where I was being attacked, which is very funny. Yeah, 13th President's Cup. Okay, let me. It has to be on chess.com. Give me a second. Once again. Give me a second. It's funny how I can't find these things. Yeah, so I was there, but I just missed it up. Okay. It's so funny sometimes how I miss these things. Give me a second. Okay. So let us proceed in the way of forward. Okay. So this was a game I played against an aggressive player, right? I oftentimes, if my opponent is very aggressive, I try to avoid giving them aggressive positions. This is completely fine. Everything here is fine. But it was in this position I realized that, oh, I gave my no, okay, it wasn't here yet because my knight defends here. Takes, bishop, takes, and I realized that, okay, I castled at the wrong time. I should have played something else here, but I castled at the wrong time. And the moment I castled, he went bishop g4. Why? Takes. And this is the way aggressive players are. They are looking for the slightest bit of space in your position in order to like attack you, right? So now I know I have to defend, and you really have to calculate. That's something that, like, if you have these quick things and you're playing against a strong opponent, they will find a way out. And if you don't really understand what to do, then it messes you up, right? So yeah, so I had to calculate here. He jumps back with his knight, completely fine. Bishop takes, queen takes with check. I hide my king. He offers a trade of queens, which was very funny here. But I think he was thinking that if takes, he would capture this way and then this pawn would be hanging, but that still doesn't work. I played the bishop. He plays f. I move my queen away, targeting his pawn. He continues attacking. I take with check because, I mean, it's check. You can't push the pawn because now this is being targeted. He moves his king away. I play, f4. Trying to deal with this. My opponent brings his rook in, targeting my queen. Simply hide the queen back. And now, here you have to be very, very quick. Rook comes in. You have to calculate what happens after the rook comes in here. You can't play queen this way. You can't play king this way. Rook just stops you. And you also have to be aware of the rook coming in there. So I saw that, and the move is rook to g1. Yes, that's how annoying the position is. Rook to g1. And the king is literally stuck here. If you are an aggressive player, you are just going to be like, oh my god, I can attack. Well, I'm also planning to checkmate you, right? So my opponent brings the rook in there, which I expected. Slide the queen down. He brings the other rook in. He's targeting this way. I am not bothered by that in the slightest. Bring the bishop to attack the queen. Rook takes, king takes, because if you play queen takes, you lose the bishop. So king takes, queen comes in. Then you play the very nice move, rook b1. Just let your opponent know that there's no attack in Ba Sing Se, right? You let him know that there's no attack in Ba Sing Se. So over here, and he's still trying to attack. I know the attack doesn't work. h3. Take the pawn because you are far away from dealing with all of this. This is a good position for me. He retreats. My king comes up and we play into a delicious winning endgame, right? So you should know when to stop. My opponent got too caught up trying to attack me that he didn't realize that at the point his attack was going to fizzle out. And once his attack fizzled out, all I did was just take over the game from there. So far, he hasn't beaten me yet, but he's improving each and every year. So maybe one day he'll beat me. But oftentimes, when we meet, Mix Official, I only play viewers on Friday. So if you want to play against me, it's not today. It's Friday you come on. So when you come on Friday, I'll definitely play against you. Oh, for sure, you can beat me. I mean, I don't think I'm the strongest chess player, but that'll be on Friday. So just come around on Friday and you'll be able to beat me as many times as you want, right? So that's about it. So yeah. Crystalchess.com. I've completely abandoned what I came here to do. Oh boy. Mix. Just come on Friday, okay? Just come on Friday. Okay. So yeah, this is completely fine. Lagan, this is completely fine. Not all double pawns are bad, right? But the point between double pawns being bad is that, for example, like if this pawn wasn't existing here, right, then the pawns are vulnerable. So understand the strengths and weaknesses of whatever it is you are doing. Isolated pawns are bad, but there are positions where isolated pawns are good, I think, right? There are pros and cons of every chess position. There are pros and cons of everything that exists in the chess position, right? So based on the chess position that you have, you make the decisions that best suit that position. That's what I'll say. You make the decisions that best suit that position. And sometimes the best decision may be spoiling your pawn structure. Did I learn chess by myself? Yes, but mostly I watched these two creators, John Bartholomew and Ginger GM. So I watched their videos. So sometimes when I'm talking, I'm literally just parroting what they are saying, right? Okay, some of them are my personal opinions at the point when I started understanding chess a bit, but a lot of the things I say, I parroted from what Ginger GM and John Bartholomew say. So for example, when I say that you want to stop your opponent's ideas and push your own ideas, it's something Ginger GM said, right? He said that in chess, what you want to do is stop your opponent's ideas and push your own ideas. Don't be too hung up on doing what you want. Identify your opponent's ideas, stop them, and then push your own ideas. So it's more of me just parroting what he does. Takes knight, and rook takes. Takes knight, rook takes. Yeah. I missed it. This tournament was very bad for me. I did not even see that I had that, right? So yeah, I do, but I will say that it's good to have a coach. Having a coach solves a lot of the problems growing in chess, because sometimes you don't know why you're not doing well. You can't tell. You feel like you've learned everything, or you feel like you've learned enough, but you just can't seem to go beyond the rating. It takes a coach to help you know. Sometimes you are playing an opening that doesn't fit your style, and you don't know about that. Sometimes you are playing an opening wrongly, and you don't know about that. There are so many intricate details in chess that I think that having a coach solves. So as somebody who didn't have a coach, I struggled a lot, right? I struggled getting from 1400 chess.com. I used to play solely on chess.com. I struggled getting from 1400 to 1900 because I didn't know what I didn't know. So yeah, I will recommend to everyone that if you can get a coach, get a coach. And if you haven't, once again, I know I'm parroting this too much, but please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube by the end of this year. So if you're on YouTube, you can help me out. If you're on Twitch, you can consider following or subscribing to help me out monetarily or monetarily, however you pronounce that word. So just look at the position. I'll recommend a book for you. I think it's called Pawn Structures by Mauricio Flores. Pawn Structures by Mauricio Flores. He takes you through some of the well-known openings and the pawn structure, some of the well-known pawn structures that come out of openings, and he teaches you the various ideas that come out of those openings, and it will help you. But again, if you don't like reading, and if you don't like chess books, you may struggle with that book, right? But if you read it, it does give you an idea. Don't memorize moves, understand ideas in chess. That way, even if you are losing, you find your way out. That way, or even if you are meeting something you don't know, you find your way out. So like and sub. Hey, thanks so much, bro. I do appreciate it. Yeah. So do that. Understand chess position. That should be what you are interested in. Understanding chess position. Don't just think about, oh, I want to win a game. The most important thing in chess is fixing the small things, right? I know we all want the rating to go up, but if you're only looking about number going up, you'll be very depressed learning chess. Rather focus on the things that make you win a game, right? So that's why I always say, like, get out of the quick win gambits stuff. Study pawn structures, study piece activity, study the various end games. Study the various end games that chess that come out of chess, right? Is learning from you to be effective? Yes, but again, the best is to get a coach. That is my opinion. I struggled without a coach, and anybody I knew who entered into chess, who was like with me when we started, but had a coach, they all went far ahead of me. They all went like far ahead of me, right? So I think having a coach is best. But the danger of learning on YouTube is if you don't know a trusted source. That's one. Number two, sometimes YouTubers, we speak our opinions. Of course, we do give objective information, but sometimes we also do have our opinions. That's why, for example, I don't speak against the London system. Some people may speak against the London system. I speak against quick gambits. Some people may speak for quick gambits. So that is where the diversity will come, but objective information will be given, I believe. But always cross check. There are some chess channels, I'm not mentioning them, but there are some chess channels that give bad advice. Hopefully mine, I'm hoping one day, if this channel becomes good enough, what's his name, Red Panda Chess will review my channel. I want to know if I give good enough chess advice, because I try my best to give good chess advice. But there are some channels that don't give good chess advice. They will spoil your chess, right? Yeah, I had another thing. I used to watch Chess Bras. They don't. I'm not saying they give bad advice, but I used to watch Chess Bras, and a man said that it doesn't matter if you play blitz. You can, like he said, don't listen to what anybody's saying. If I had the video, I would have showed you where he said it. But he said it doesn't matter if you play blitz. Don't be so worried about people saying don't play blitz and all those kinds of things. I disagree, right? I think it matters if you only play blitz if you are trying to improve. So we do have like our biases, but the objective information is you don't have, where are you, Lagan? Wait, you say you're from India? How don't you have, is it India becoming like the motherland of chess right now? Oh, unless of course I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not in India. Vergante, you've changed your profile picture, unless of course this is a different Vergante I'm talking to. But welcome. I'm talking a lot today. Unfortunately, I'm not recording, so I can't make this a short. Same Vergante. Hey, nice. Small city, but in India. I think they are coaches. There's only one Vergante? Are you sure? I can name at least 2 Vergantes. Then I'll recommend, I mean, you can watch my videos, though I don't have a lot of lesson videos. I don't have like these. I'm now working on doing all of those things, but what I'll recommend, if you want to watch from me, you can watch my analysis videos of my games from tournaments. You can watch my improve at chess videos, because I give you my thought process as well. Look it up right now. Oh, I can't. I'm sure I'll see Vergante XVI. Bye. Okay, no problem, Lagan. Thank you so much. I really did enjoy your company. And let's look at the last game for today, which is a game I won. I lost every other game. Every other game you see, okay, you can't see them, but every other game I lost them. This is a game I won. Let me give myself my flowers. I can't be losing too much. Okay, so this girl is very interesting because she's supposedly from somebody's where it's a beginner, but she doesn't play like a beginner. She does misunderstand the position, but then she is still not that big of a beginner. Decided to pass through A. Always appreciate it. Always love to see an old face. Always love to see an old face. Yeah. So with this game, you notice when I talk about misunderstanding positions, you notice that in this game. But it doesn't happen until much later on. So this is the last game of the tournament, and I'm at a very low point, right? Because I lost my first round, I lost my second round, I lost my third round, I lost my fourth round. My fifth round opponent didn't show. I didn't show for my sixth round, and this is the last round. So basically, I have 1 point, but I don't actually have a victory over the board. That was how bad this tournament went. The last time I had a result this bad was like when I started playing chess, right? So when I started playing chess professionally, like in the beginning. So my morale is at an all-time low, and I'm playing like I'm even losing to beginners. So if you say this girl is a beginner, I'm like, I mean, I could also lose to her, right? So I'm beginning to like knight to f3, because I realized that when you play the accelerated landing, everybody who knows that you play the accelerated landing just disturbs you with c5. But if you play with knight f3, knight f3 is a flexible move. A lot of openings have knight f3. With the English, the King's Indian defense, the Queen's Gambit, they all have knight to f3. So when you play knight to f3, you haven't really told your opponent what you're about to do. and you can eventually switch into the landing and they'll be unawares. So now I'm kind of understanding why like sometimes top players don't play accelerated, but rather they play f3. I personally don't like f3 because of this specific line. This specific line is why I don't like the f3. Yeah, Vegante, it was bad. Like if you watch my analysis, I was so angry. I was so like, I just wanted to get it out of the way. I considered quitting the tournament after like the 4th round, but I was like, nah, if I've registered, let me just play. At that point, like everybody was just beating me. Everybody was just beating me. Some of my friends got disappointed in me because they didn't expect me to play that badly. Yeah. So yeah, I'm playing as black. My opponent played knight f3. I was like, wait, is she going to play the landing? Because I've had like 5 landing games in this tournament. So I play bishop f5, which is often a way to counteract the bishop here. h3 is very slow. Knight to f6, knight to c6, e6, knight to c3, e6, and then bishop to f4, and then this. Again, I've told you guys, I love it when like this is for me a beautiful position. It's not that it's winning, I like it. It's a position I love playing. I'm not saying that it's winning, it's a position I like playing. So she takes, I take back, and then she plays e3. Everything here is fine apart from like h3. h3 is the only slow move from my opponent, so maybe black has gained equality a long time ago. I can play again, like I said, apex pawn. I can decide to play on the queen side. I can go for a minority attack. Like there are ideas for me in this position, but I'm taking my time, no strange stuff. Knight c6, bishop d3, and I jump in with my knight. I don't have a bishop here to do anything on the queen side, and in this scenario I don't want to have doubled pawns, right? I don't want to have that in my position, so I go knight. Common blunder I used to get when I was a beginner in chess is this. Like this, I used to get this a lot. Now it doesn't happen anymore, which is very sad. But knight jumps in, bishop takes, and here I thought about it a little bit, but I went bishop takes, knight takes, and then here. This is doubled pawns, but it's not bad, right? These are different like scenarios. There's not much reconsideration here. What I did not like from my opponent was that my opponent played a3 here. I think c3 is what you want to do here. But if let's say I castle and you take and I take, you've given me a backward pawn here, right? And you can, for example, again, I'm just making bad moves here, but you can target it. Queen comes in here. It becomes a weakness that you can target, right? So I don't know why my opponent didn't play c3. Maybe she was afraid, but c3 is a very nice move that could have been played here. She didn't play c3. Instead, she played a3, h3. Like when you are starting out in chess, I understand the fear of like the bishop coming into pin, the knight jumping into this square trying to fork. But like really ask yourself, is that a threat? Right? Again, there could be the idea that she's trying to play b4, then go b5. That could also be the idea, but it's too slow. Like it's literally too slow. Like c4 is a much better idea. c4 is a much better idea. a3 is too slow. But c4, if your opponent doesn't take, you even have c5 if you don't want to take. Right? So c4 is very like these are good moves. Don't take it away from our opponent. These are good moves, but they are being played at the wrong time. Right? We know why. Like I understand why you want to play a move like that, but it's being played at the wrong time. Timing of a move is very important in chess. So the fact that something has been mentioned as a good move doesn't mean that you should always play it, right? a5, c3. Here I played a bad move. I played b3. I played a5 because I was looking at b5 and I was like, oh, okay, if we have this, then I can just take this, and if queen takes, then I have takes here. That's what I was looking at, right? But b5 was bad. The reason I played b5 was because I thought that with c3 my opponent was going to maybe play b4, because I felt like that's what she was trying to go for, right? So let's say I would castle here and then she goes this way. Now this is probably problematic, probably. So I didn't want to allow that. I did not want to allow that. I played b5. I think b5 is a bad move. My opponent plays b4 and I'm like, okay, lock the position up. Why am I locking the position up? Now, when you are playing in chess, in closed positions, oftentimes you are looking for the weaknesses, or not even in closed positions. You are normally looking for the weak point in your opponent's game. Sometimes in chess, based on the way the game goes, your opponent has certain weak points. So for example, I mentioned creating a weakness with the pawn here, having a backward pawn here, right? It's a weakness. So the reason I played a4 is that if you want to give the answer, I would like to talk with you guys. I really love speaking with you guys. But what would be the weak point in black's position as it stands now, which would explain why I played a4? If anyone can answer, if you can, that's fine. I'll just say it in a few seconds. But what's the weak point? Why am I playing a4 instead of just taking the pawn? What weakness did I see that I realized, okay, this is bad for my opponent and I can target it? Like, if you can figure that out, that'd be very nice. It's the c3 pawn. It's the c3 pawn. That's a backward pawn. It can't be pushed forward. You don't know how to play chess. The only Vergante in the world doesn't know how to play chess. Unfortunate. We need a new Vergante. We need a new one. But the point is the c3 pawn is now weak, and the c3 pawn is going to be my target throughout this game, unless of course something else comes up. My opponent castles and I castle. She plays f3, and there's a weakness here, so I target it. Queen to g5. You take, I take here. Your whole position is falling, right? Queen to e1. Funny enough, the engine is like, it's queen to e2 because you target this. Chess is so funny. But queen to e1, the slight mistakes, right? Takes, knight takes, and it recommended a different move, I've forgotten, but I played queen back. And me playing queen back here, I thought it was a good idea, but it's wrong, because I was thinking, for example, that I could come in here and I could decimate my opponent's pawns. But what do you quickly realize? They are all defended. So that was the reason I played it, but it just doesn't work, right? Okay. And rook a to c1. I have mentioned the reason why, right? I have mentioned, you're going to see what I meant by my opponent misunderstands the position. Rook a to c8. I am targeting this. If my opponent decides to target the pawn, my knight can always go back, right? My opponent plays rook a to e1. Now, I played a London, so I know that in the London system, you want to get this pawn push. That's one of it. But I look at this position and I'm like, okay, but if pawn push, I can just play pawn takes. Is this pawn a problem? No. Pawn push here also cannot really happen. So I wasn't so sure. I played this move a little bit out of uncertainty, but it ended up helping me. You, again, in the London system, you don't want as white, you want to play e4, e5 if you can. So I played f5. Just, okay, there's no threat to my opponent playing this. I don't know if there's an idea with the knight coming in here. I don't see the point. So let me just play this move, hold my position. Yes, I do have a backward pawn now, but it cannot be targeted. Why? This is a closed file, right? This is a closed file. This is a semi-open file, right? And it's not, I always say that a semi-open file is good for the player who doesn't have a pawn on it, except if you have a passed pawn, right? Then you want your rook behind the passed pawn. Rook e2, and this is when I said my opponent did not understand the position, because it seems like my opponent is still trying to push e4, but the square is being held by two pawns. There's no way that makes any sense. So rook c7, and then again, this does not make any sense. She has made moves, but this does not make any sense. Like, you've made moves, right? But what does this do? How does this help you? How does this push a plan in the position? It doesn't. So basically, my opponent literally just made two wasted moves. After f, she should have tried something else. Yeah, after f, she should have just tried something else. because these two moves were bad. So now my opponent is now going to have to face something. So king goes back, and then I develop my knight. Now in close positions, you have to learn what is called maneuvering. It mostly happens in close positions, but maneuvering is a common term in chess where you look at a piece that is not doing something, or you look at your pieces that are not active, and you look for ways and means of getting them active. So you look for a pathway they can go through to get active. If I look at this knight, where would this knight like to be? Either on e3, e4, or c4. But ideally, the best would be e4, because it adds e4 on e4. It's attacking this weakness that I mentioned, right? So you have to find the path, right? There are many ways I could do it. I think there was one, two, there was one, two, sorry, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. There's also 1, 2, sorry, there was also 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I don't know if like there's any recommended path. I would say that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know if the paths are relevant. There are times in chess position the path you pick is very relevant, because picking the wrong path can cause you problems, but I don't think the path was irrelevant here. This decision took me a while to make, because the moment I move the knight out, I know that his knight comes in, so I had to be very careful about it, because the knight comes in, it defends this square, and there are lines where I felt like I would like to put my rook here to prevent my opponent from capturing this, right? So I jump back, he goes this way, I come in, queen e8, and now my opponent starts defending. So this is where you see this whole attackers versus defenders. I have 2 attackers, my opponent has 2 defenders. The defenders win in this scenario. I jump in with my knight. If I take, he has a bad pawn structure here, maybe I can target it somewhere in the future. But he retreats. She should have taken instead. And what that does is it gives me a chance to activate my knight even the more. The queen goes back. I jump in here, and now how many attackers do I have? I have 3 attackers. My opponent has 2 defenders. So my opponent has to add another defender. Right? These are the intricacies you see in the chess position. I'm giving myself my flowers. I've already looked at my bad games, guys. So now it's very tricky, because there's no other way to add another attacker to the position. So I thought here for a while, and I was like, since my opponent's pieces are focused here, I can use my free pieces to create something on the other side of the board, because any attempt to deal with it weakens this position. That's the mindset behind it. Any attempt to deal with whatever problem I create here reduces the defenders over here, and eventually I break through. That was the mindset. Though the issue was, what kind of plan do I play? Because I was looking at g4, but I wasn't so sure. g5, I wasn't so sure. Instead, I went queen g f8, which the engine didn't really like, but again, it's still a winning position. If you want to see, this is the engine's evaluation. Right here is like minus, yeah, okay. So the point is to push f4. If pawn takes, I can take with my queen, and maybe I can switch the attack, right? Bring this rook here and attempt something there. I've forgotten exactly the plan I was thinking about in this position, but I was thinking about something there. My opponent plays g3, obviously preventing me from pushing f4, f4, and then I go g5. Not to push f5, f4, but for something else. My opponent moves the king. I think she saw that, okay, I could still push f4 here. My opponent can't make a move. Like, you can't make a move. That's how bad my opponent's position was. I was happy with this game. g4 takes. Yes, I know. I said it's a beginner, but I've been playing very bad chess. I'm just happy to see a win, right? F takes, and the knight comes in here. And in my whole calculation, I calculated that I would go rook, queen here, and my opponent would play something, I've forgotten what, but then I would have check. I did not actually see this I actually did not see. Of course, this is still winning for black because I have like queen here. My rook is also coming in. I did not calculate all of that, but I was like, I don't want to lose this pawn, so I went this way. Again, now this is the thing. If queen comes in here, I can take. If rook takes, what did I say? Rook takes. Boom. Your pawns are hanging. If what else? There's some funny nights I was thinking about. If rook comes in here, I have queen takes, knight takes, king takes, and then again the weakness is showing itself. So any attempt of my opponent to try and deal with this was problematic. My opponent went back knight d3, very obvious reason, coming to block the file, which would have been very bad for me, right? But I'm like, oh, that was not what I was looking at in the first place. Now there's no real need to deal with this. I have an attack. And here my opponent missed a very good move. Even the way to deal with this position after my opponent plays that move is not a comfortable thing to play. But my opponent could have just simply played knight here, and this locks this up, and my queen can't come in here, right? So I was like, oh, damn. But fortunately, I mean, that's chess, right? My opponent's in a computer. My opponent jumps this way. I take. I mean, you could have taken with the queen, but I don't know what she was afraid of. I take. She comes. She takes. I come in with check. You can only go back to this square. King goes back. Check. You win it. Queen takes. You pin the queen, and then you win from there. And I'm sure now you are like, but I thought you said you were targeting the weak point. Yeah, that's chess. That is chess at its finest, right? But you could see the significant problem, the weakness here created for my opponent. So even though I never ended up winning this, my opponent's forces had to focus on the defense. And because of that need to focus on the defense, my attack was able to work, because any attempt at trying to deal with the attack forces the side to fall down. So we call it playing on both sides of the board. Did everybody, no, apart from Regante, did anyone else understand anything I said? Regante is just making me feel like I'm speaking a different language. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the win is I'm sure you can see from here. Check, takes, pawn push, check, and then there's mate in 3. Oh boy. And all this from one weakness. So you'll be playing against a grandmaster or a stronger player, and you're like, what did I do wrong? Yeah, you left the pawn at the back. You literally left the pawn at the back. All this because my opponent played b4. All this because my opponent played b4. And it was just, don't forget, my opponent didn't make so many mistakes. I criticized h3, but my opponent didn't really make so many big mistakes. It was literally just b4. If I would say there's a losing move, it's b4. Why? Because she gave me something to defend. The later moves, still, again, I would also still say that the rook, doubling of the rooks did not make any sense. But still, the weakness is a big one. You watch my latest show. Oh, it came out. Oh, it came out. It's out. Yeah, I scheduled it for 12 o'clock. Yeah, so it's out now. There's a video coming tomorrow. I try and not post the shorts and the videos on the exact same time. That was the game I played, I think, yesterday, where my hand was shaking. That was a very sad moment for me. I don't know if any of you will recognize the song I played at the end, but if you never played Super Nintendo emulation system, entertainment system, or emulation and entertainment system, or Super Nintendo, Tales of Fantasia, when you return to the village and the village is destroyed, that's the theme I used. If any of you recognize it, you are a goat. Yeah. So I was happy about this game because I lost too many games. SNES. Do you know when I was young, I used to call it Sensec. I don't know where I saw SEN and then SS. Because you know it's SNES X9 or something like that. Now that's a language I understand, of course, of course. Who's your character modeled after? I feel like it's somebody from either King of Fighters or Street Fighter. Yeah, so Tales of Fantasia. That was the sound. The last instrumental I played. I should make videos on like very hard puzzles and commentate on them. Okay, I'll do that. On Twitch, yeah, on Twitch. Like your profile picture on Twitch. Yeah, so that we did delve in. I mean, there are two more games we had to look at. But unfortunately we can't do that. You know, I should do the golden coin game. I know every chess player in existence has shown the golden coin game, but I'll maybe I'll do it because I mean that sacrifice was a chef's kiss, right? That sacrifice was a chef's kiss. I'm serious. Frank Marshall. That sacrifice always blows my mind. Oh, nice. So you're a gym bro, I see. I'm also a gym bro. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm just kidding. You look like So Bad Guy. That's how your character looks like. Is that how his name is called? Is this So Bad Guy or So Bad Guy? Please, I'm not really an FGC person. But yeah, Lagan, again, thanks for the suggestion. I'll do that. The video that's coming out on Thursday, the shot that's coming out on Thursday was my opponent falling for my trick when I told them to play a bad move and they played it. That's what's coming out. It's So Bad Guy, yeah. I don't know what kind of name is So Bad Guy. Some people just get up and make names like Dragon Ball Z, Bulma, Bluma, Trunks, Pants. They are just annoying people. Bula, which is bra. Like, come on, be vegetable, carrot. Like, be original. Be original. Come on. Yeah. So I will have to end it here. The good news for those who just joined the stream is that Friday I play viewers, right? On Friday I play viewers. On Friday, after I'm done with the usual daily puzzles, I will post this here and to also be in the titles. So if you were watching me and you think I'm talking too much and you can beat me, come Friday, I'll be around 10 a.m. GMT. I'll play as many games as I can before I'm tired. Chess is hard, but I'll play against you. So if you want to meet me, subscribe or follow and hit the notification bell. So on Friday, you get to meet me and we can have some fun because I'll play all the funny stuff. Lagan, come round. I think this Friday I'll play every other I'll try not to play a single London. I will try. I can't make any promises. But this coming Friday, I'll play every other opening I know. So yeah. So what? I mean, it's original when you think about it. An entire race whose names are synonymous with vegetables and underwear, right? Well, I think it's boring. You know, use names like Lebanon from Tales of Etsy. Like Lebanon sounds like, yeah, that's a name. Alucard is a boring name because we know it's Dracula backwards. What other names are? Erin Yeager. Maybe it's a normal name in wherever. I think that's Germany. Yeah, but choose a cool name, right? Maximilian Pegasus. You know, these are names that strike fear into the hearts of your opponents, right? Belcranial is not a nice name. The Cranial is nice, but I think the Bell is not so nice. Anyway, it's been a while I've watched anime. The last time I watched anime was like 2016, 2017. I haven't watched anime in a while. I only speak from my memory of anime. I don't actually have current anime knowledge. Though I used to read night novels, but now everybody knows more about it than me. Insane. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, his is much better than oh Metal Gear Solid. Is it Metal Gear Solid? Um, uh, what's her name? Quiet. Like those funny names. I've got it. The names. Yeah, that one. Yeah, but given how much I like, yeah, I used to like them, but like these days, I'm not so much like interested in them. Though I do once in a while check up on like isekai. Like isekai is something I really enjoy the isekai genre. Though right now it's becoming oversaturated, so I don't really. I liked mystery. So for example, like QED, Detective Conan. What's the other one? Why can't I remember them? All of a sudden. Then there's this one I wish would become an anime. I don't think that's become an anime. The word magic guy. He can create his own magic by using words and all those kind of things. I sold my soul to chess, kinda. I kinda sold my soul to chess, yeah. Uh, yeah. Monster. You know, funny enough, I've not watched Monster, but I hear it's really good. I really want to like maybe I'll check the light novel. Maybe I'll check the light novel. I hear the guy is a real psychopath. Like he really knows how to manipulate people. Like yeah. Funny, I've not read Monster yet. I've read Berserk. I've not read Monster, which is funny. And Berserk scars you, right? Berserk scars you. Berserk is one of the worst things to give to children. On Twitch, yes. On YouTube, no. No, okay. YouTube, I need 1,000 watch hours, and they will allow me to get super chats. So that's another thing I'm aiming for, to get 1,000 watch hours. That's why I've been like shooting out content, especially shorts like that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, you think it's easy, but it like you when if you are sitting from the background, like, oh, somebody just sits in this room and makes videos, you think it's easy until you actually start doing it and you realize that 1,000 subscribers is not a joke. Yeah. No. I don't have it yet, Vergante. I don't have it yet. Wait, are you asking if I can do a super chat? Yes, I can. But like for my channel, you can't super chat because I'm not yet. You need 500 subs and then I think 1,000 watch hours or something like that. Yeah, and then you get the ability to do super chats. Yet, you need 1,000 to get full monetization, but you can do you can get super chat monetization there. And then check on Google or check on YouTube. Yeah, 1,000 hours and 1K subs. That's for super chats. But no. Wait, sorry. It's 4,000 hours, 1K subs for full monetization, but 1,000 hours, 500 subs for super chat monetization, right? So this year, my aim is to get 1,000. I really need to get 1,000 this year. I'm close. I'm at what, 567? Did I just say 67? Come on. Okay, 500. It didn't get any better. 569. Yeah. So that's it. I got pretty close, but I don't make videos in like 3 years. Look, it's tiring, bro. Which will you be mainly short? I want more of the long videos, but I don't know why my long videos don't get views. So I'm just doing short. People seem to enjoy my shorts more, but my long videos don't get any views. The highest I've ever got video wise on this thing is 700, but the shorts I've been getting like 5,000 and 1,000 and those kind. Yeah. Okay, if you guys are making me enjoy the conversation, let me leave. I have to step out. Vergante, thank you so much for dropping by. Lagan, thank you for continuously participating, and everyone else, if I don't remember your name, Girl Boss, if you are still around, thank you for being around. Everyone else, thank you for being around. You're not 4 times food. That's nice. And maybe I'll get you when I get this channel monetized. I'll get you to do one of 2 things for me. And that's not bad. That's not bad. Why are you Vergante XV and not Vergante VA? Like, bro, every VA has VA in their name. Why are you XV? Why are you trying to change the pattern? Just be VA and save yourself so everybody knows you're a VA. We have corner VA, we have whoever else VA, all the VAs are VAs. Okay, okay. Is that what? Cause what? Because your shows don't get the reach and they aren't in the format of which. Lagan, you have to start a channel because you seem to understand this better than me. Oh, okay. 15. Lightning is 15, no? Is Lightning 15? I think Lightning is 15. Cloud is 7. The Tia, the guy, what's that guy's name? Tia. I don't remember. That's 13. Bro, Noctis is 15. Wait, isn't there 16? I thought Noctis is 16. Or there's no 16. Bro, I'm far back. I don't remember any of these things anymore. Yeah, so like I don't know. I'll figure it out. You know, I'll figure it out. I have some scripts that I have concerning chess improvement. I think might work out. I'll try those ones. If they don't work, I don't know, but I'll try my best. I'll try my best. 16 is Clive, and that means I don't know who Clive is. Then I don't know who Clive is because that name does not ring a bell in any way, shape, or form. You don't know what type. What do you enjoy? Just do what you enjoy. Try not to think too much about money. If you start thinking just about money, you get burnt out because you not get the views like that. Though if you can't do like the boosting of your posts, that will help you get there faster. I have a friend who started a YouTube channel and then I've never boosted a single post in my life. Maybe that's also what's not helping me. But boosting would help you. So just pick something you enjoy, something that has cool moments, and then do that. Yeah, if you just want to make content, do that. But I'm saying that like if you are so focused on money, you will burn out quickly. Yeah, if you want to do it full time, because ideally it might take you a year to 2 years. It depends. Yeah, you have to learn SEO. You have to learn like what do you call it? Editing, like Premiere Pro. You have to learn Photoshop. You have to do so many things. Yeah, chess is a very annoying thing to do. Chess doesn't have an audience. Chess has a very small pool of. Look at Levy. Look at Levy. Levy has 6 million subscribers, yet he gets like what 400,000 views per video, 400,000 down per video. Like with any other like area, you should not be getting 400,000 per view. You should not. He should be obviously getting like 900,000. Chess is a very different. Like if you want to do well on YouTube and pick chess, you are going to struggle because it's not something that if you started doing the Queen's Gambit boom, then it would have been much easier for you. But chess is not. Chess has a very small group of people that watch it. So maybe you could do documentaries, right? Maybe. I mean, most things have been covered. If you want to be a teacher type chess player, we have people there. If you want to be the entertainment type, we have people there. Documentaries, there are very few number of them. I think like the franchise, there's this lady as well who does that. You could do that. If you want to do solely on analysis and history of chess, Agadmato is there. Entertainment is when you faced Gotham Chess, Nemo, the Botes sisters, those kind of things. You're also in 9th grade. Oh, finish school. Sorry. Oh, I mean, if you want to start, then for now you can do it for fun. Whatever. Just post what you like. Don't think too much about it. I mean, the fighting game community, it's a niche on its own. But fighting game community has more viewers, to be frank. Fighting game community has like a lot. Like, I used to watch... Oh, I forgot the name of that channel. He used to pull in views. Right? And with fighting games, you get a lot of hype moments as compared to chess. Like the hype moments in chess is when you are playing blitz and bullets, right? I have to structure my videos in a very specific way to make them approachable by anyone outside of the fighting game community. Do you structure your videos outside of your content or towards your content? Because I think it would be wrong to market outside of your content. I think it would be wrong to do that. What's my FIDE? My FIDE is bad, but I'll say it anyway. 1641. 1641. Lichess 2000. Chess.com 1900. Wait. Someone said, I'm an old man these days. Some will call me an unk. Bro, I think, okay, no, I'm not yet in the 30 range. I'm a doorstep close to the 30 range. So I don't know if you are calling 30s unks. Because if you are not yet 30 and you're calling yourself an unk, I will be annoyed that you're making me sound like an old man. So right now, the children greet me these days. Now, in case you don't know, in Ghana, adults are respected. So when you're a child, if you see an adult, you're supposed to greet. If you're a child and you see an adult, you're supposed to greet. So I used to greet. I'm the one being greeted now. I know I'm an old man. I went to buy something and the children got up for me to sit down. Bro, I promise. If you're referring to Maximilian, he's more of a variety channel. No, not Maximilian. Maximilian is not the guy I'm talking about. This guy just holds tournaments. He's not a YouTube channel, it's a Twitch channel. He just holds tournaments. I can't remember what the name is. I think it starts with like forget. I was shocked. I recently went to Sonic Fox. Maybe you might be right, because I recently went to Sonic Fox's channel and I realized that he has 300,000 subs. I was shocked. I thought Sonic Fox would have like 1 mil. Like maybe he's not really a content creator. Maybe he just posts his videos, but he's not really like a content creator. I was shocked. Maybe you're right about that. Some of my recent videos talk about sound design in fighting games. I'm not talking about bridging the gaps between casuals and professionals. I don't know. I try to reach out to the casuals when it comes to chess, which is what Gotham does, but I don't do it in the way Gotham does. My it's not a niche, but what I try to do is I try to make chess look I try to reduce the skill ceiling of chess. The chess has a very high skill ceiling, but I try to reduce the skill ceiling of chess in the sense that many people think about the many intricacies of chess and they're like, this is too complicated, I can't enter into it. But I try and make it look simplified. That it's many things, but it's not as much as you think. Like, it's very simple stuff that you get into. I mean, you could do these edits where your fights, your punches match the beat of a song or something like that. That would be easy to watch. You talk about frame data. Frame data is boring. Don't talk about it. I played Brawlhalla. Frame data pissed me off. Startup frames, active frames, recovery frames, exhaust frames. Exhaust frames, recovery frames. What? No. Startup, active, recovery. No, I think it's exhaust then recovery. Oh, there's nothing like exhaust frames. Maybe just startup, active, recovery. I don't recall. I'm bad at all that stuff. Let's do an exchange. What's that? Exchange of what? That's only for entertainment. I teach you chess, but that's not what can generate views. And I tell you how to make your videos better. That's like a nice trade. That's like a nice trade. I want to entertain people and educate them at the same time. I think you can make videos that educate and videos that entertain. And mixing them may be difficult. Mixing them may be difficult. Maybe there's a way to do it, but I personally like to separate entertainment and education. So you realize that anytime I'm doing a video or a short where it's teaching, I don't do so many cuts. So I don't do those funny sounds a lot, though I think maybe I should, because you saw Gotham's PP on the PP video. Oh yeah, I mean, when I started learning fighting games, Why do you have a corpse husband kind of voice? Please, those who I'm sorry, I shall have ended the stream, but I'm having a wonderful conversation at this point. But if you want to, I am on Discord, so yeah, you can join my Discord. If you have a corpse husband voice, yeah, you can do a lot. His voice really got him a lot. So I think now he doesn't stream anymore. He doesn't do videos anymore. Yeah. So that's cool. Right now, I have a problem with my. Right now, I have a problem with my. So I'm sure you've noticed that my shots, the quality of my face doesn't look so good. If I record, my PC overheats and then it goes off. So now I have to download from the stream, which is very bad. I checked your Discord. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how you. I don't really watch these fighting game guys. I know people who. You could use the style of super. Oh, what's his name? Super Black. Super Black. Is it Super Black? Super Blank or Super Black. You know, there's this guy. There are these guys who take anime fights and they put funny commentary behind it, like the freeze frame and everything. So maybe you could do something like that. Like, look at this guy. He does a downbeat in this situation, not knowing that I have a 40 move combo coming in. Those kind of stuff. I'm not really into an FGC, but yeah, that's also mainly entertainment. But no, I'm going off stream. When I go off stream, then I'll check it. Don't worry, I won't do it on stream. It won't last. You need to hook. I'm just spiffing here. I don't really know. I don't really watch the fighting game community. I mostly, like, maybe when Sonic Fox is playing, I watch. Mostly I watch these Street Fighter 6 games, right? It's okay. No. I have to stop. I have to stop. This has turned into an AMA. Guys, thank you so much. I actually have other things to do sincerely. It's 2 o'clock. I have to prepare for other stuff. I'm enjoying the conversation, but guys, I'll get back to you on Friday. I'm playing viewers. Come on, and we'll have a great time. Peace. You have to go to bed. Yeah, all the best, Brigante. All the best. Peace.